Masechta bava basra. Daf vav amud aleph is starting from Hey Amud Beis, 2 lines from the bottom. Meibaylahu. This was my father. I'm showing the Rebbe. I'm going to say so. This was my mother. So that's my mum. That's this was everybody from the ship and all the brachs and all the stuff. The b'sheva brachos. I know Shakil name everybody.
Make sure Andy gets into the film.
Everybody's in the film. You hear, my son said he heard Rabbi Raskin say something, and he says that's what the Rebbe says now. You makash the end of the Masechta at the beginning. So he wrote me. Anyway, we're up to Ibaylahu. 2 lines in the bottom. Ibaylahu, they asked the Beis Medrash, Tevoi le'achazman. If the Malva claimed from the labor after the Zman.
Usually it has to have or the middle of the Zman or the...
Right, but he asked him after the Zman. Right here. So if he was Tvoi La'achazman, I'm a labor, I ticha b'sei Zman. And he says, I paid you before this Zman. What's it in? Mi amina v'mekayim chazaka amina mali l'shaka. Do we say he has a migu? His migu is, he says he paid b'teis money, but saying b'teis money, there's a chazaka ain't odem pereya b'teis money. Chazaka person doesn't pay before the time, but he's saying he paid before the time, but he has a migu that he could have said he paid on time, and we're talking about, of course, a case where that it's not the date when he's asking him for the money is not mamish on the date, so after the date. So he can either say he paid on time, or he can say he paid his money.
Does that make you say that I never borrowed from you?
Lahadam. So that's but chadam ein adam chazak ein adam meis panav. It's not so you're not. You can't give him such a meal. Anyway, or perhaps in a place of chazaka, which as we say the chazaka, as a person doesn't pay b'teis money, then we're not going to say amiga because he could have said it paid on time. What he's saying now is mamish like against chazaka. It's like no faket. He can't believe him. There's a chazaka on what he's saying now. Mamish going against him. That's how strong it is. So which way is it? Do we still say migo against the chazaka or not? Tashma, come in here. I'll bring out right from unser Mishnah. It says every shach until 4 amis was becheskes shenasan. If they build a wall between the 2 chatzeros up to 4 amis, it's bechazaka that he paid for the wall once the wall is finished. Until the person who built the wall, who's the claiming that the other guy didn't pay, he has to bring a rai that he didn't pay. How is it talking about? If it's talking about that he came and he's coming for after the wall is built, and he says, you know, you didn't pay for it. And he says, I paid for you when the wall was finished. Shita is for sure believe. What's the shaila? Rather, what's the chiddush of the Mishnah telling you that he claims that he paid before this man? Alma, so you're right. There you go. That's the answer. Alma, so you see from here. Even though it's a chazaka of what he's saying now, that he paid to his money, there's such a strong chazaka in Kanganem. Chazaka ain't not pay to his money. Amina Malil Shaka, you still say migo. So you see, a migo is even said in a place where if his time is going against the chazaka. So as you want from this nishkenaya. Shiny hoch here, it's different by the wall. So he's nicht toich zmane. The kol shav, it's really a repetition when you ever said. Yeah, the shura he has to pay for, like we learned yesterday. Shiny hoch, the whole shafa b'shafa zimna you after each row. After each row, so it's not really considered toich zmane. It's money. Zakt you want to touch I'll bring you a right from the safe of the Mishnah. Me'aba ames ulamayla. I can be mechayiv with you to build more than 4 ames. Up to 4 ames, that's what you need for Hezekiah. More than that, I'm not mechayiv to pay you. So the guy built 4 ames, 8 ames. Another 4 ames, but then he built another wall next to it. So he said the moment he built the wall next
You
to
pay
it,
for everything.
so he has to pay for the extra 4 amas. Okay, Toshma me'aba amas l'mayla, from 4 amas and beyond and higher. Ein mechayv no say one shachan cannot be mischayiv that his shachan should be mishtativ in higher than 4 amas. Something like kaisalacha, if he put up a wall next to the first wall, then we say that it's becheskas shaloi nasa, at sheyavaraya shenasa. It's becheskas if the shachan says I paid. We don't believe you paid. It's becheskas that you didn't give till you bring the raya that you gave. Hey chidam, in fact, the shaila, the one that didn't pay for the extra 4 amas. He went and built another wall parallel or right next to the first original wall.
The original 4 was amas?
No, the 8 amas. He built a new wall, and he started to go above 4 amas. The moment he goes over above 4 amas, he has to pay for the whole wall. So when he finishes the wall, when he finishes the wall up to 8 amas, he has to pay. In fact, what is it talking about? If it's talking about he came after he already built the second wall, and it's there already finished, and he says, and he tells him, I already paid you after I finished the wall.
After you finished the wall.
After I finished the wall, I paid you. I already paid. It's after this month. So what's the shayla? Why shouldn't we believe him? Why do we say b'ches shalei nasan if it's lachas money? Elalav the omar, but I think it was saying money. Rather, we have to say that it's talking about his taina was that he paid before this month.
As he's building, he's paying him.
He says, I built, the other ones, if they have Ishura, he's paying him, right?
No,
So
he
maybe.
was talking that he built him a second wall.
The second wall, so
he
what?
says before I finished the second
When
wall.
I was building already, I saw
giving you
that
money.
I'm giving you money. I already saw I'm going to build up another wall. But I think I'm going to take this money. So we see that we don't trust it. It's b'cheskes shloi nosam. And if he says he paid b'tois money, he's going against the chazaka person that does not pay b'tois money. Even though he has a migu that he could have said he paid biz money, we're not going to trust him. We said, I paid you. He came to him after the wall was finished. And he told us he paid b'tois money. So we say, he has a migu. He could have said he paid lachas money. We're not going to trust him. So you see, you don't say a migu b'makam chazaka. So if you want to shine your hachadi, it's different. This guy, even after this man, we're not going to trust that he paid him. Even after this man, after he finished the wall, we say it's b'cheska shaloi nasam. Why? Because who says that the Rabbanan will be mechayvim? He doesn't know that. He thinks the only time that he'll become chayv when he'll make a rooftop over both walls. He's showing mamish begilu that he wants to have a knob from both walls. But if he just build up another wall next to that wall, who says he's going to be the bezin will be mechayvim? So even if he finished, Rashi says at the end, Toisis, this is really the Rashbam. The Rashbam adds to Rashi till Chav Zayin. If the Chav Zayin you have only Rashbam, you don't have Rashi. So sometimes you have the Rashbam adding. So he says, who says the Rabbanan will be mechayvim? The Rav Avashi, he says, I'll bring you a raya from a different Mishnah, a totally different Mishnah. Toshma, come in here, I'll bring you a raya that you don't say migu if what you're saying now is against the chazaka. Where do we see that? Mana libi yatcha. Reuben says to Shimon, one who says to his chava, Mana libi yatcha, I have $100 of mine in your hands. I'm a lay. You owe me $100. I'm just typing literally the words. I'm a lay. So he says in front of Eidim, hey, yeah, I owe you the money. Ulamalcha, I'm a lay. Tneili. The next day, come to Mal, he says, no, yesterday he said, you owe me money. Give me my money. So he says, if he said, I already paid you, he's going to be parted from paying. Even though yesterday he was made that he's chayiv, but at that time, he wasn't mechuyev to pay. Let's say he came to him 10 o'clock in the morning. The set time that he had to pay was 6 o'clock in the evening, and he came the next day, he could say, I already paid you. But if he says, I don't have any money of yours in my hand, chayiv, he's going to be chayiv to pay. Why does he chayiv? Because he said mat, because he said hin? He said hin, yeah. And now he says, So Yomari wants to know, what does it mean? Ein l'cha b'yadi chayiv. Did he mean by saying? Oh, so wait. So my love, what does it mean? Ein l'cha b'yadi. Nesativ lach means damalei praticha bizmani. Nesativ lach, when he says I paid you, it means I paid you on time. Like I said, let's say he spoke to him 6 o'clock and he admitted he owes the money. I'm sorry, he spoke to him 10 o'clock in the morning, he admitted he owes the money. 6 o'clock was the time to pay in the evening. And he came the next day and he says, it's possible, he paid him the Hazman. Ein l'cha b'yadi, what's that? You have to say, what does the words Ein l'cha b'yadi mean? He's saying that I paid you in the middle of the time. Because if he's saying Ein l'cha b'yadi means that he should have used the deflation, I don't owe you nothing. But he says Ein l'cha b'yadi, obviously he's talking about that he claims that he paid before the time. Ukatani chayiv. Nevertheless, we learned in the Mishnah that he's chayiv. So you see, we don't say in a place of chazaka. In a place of chazaka, we don't say mali l'shaka. Zakti yemada loy. It's no raya. My ein l'cha b'yadi. I can explain what is the pshat when it says the words ein l'cha b'yadi. Loy hayud varim hayom. It means la'adam. I never borrowed anything. But the Amamar, and when he says I never borrowed, the Amamar, the Tana says, one who says I didn't borrow at all, it's as if he says I never paid you. As Nishkin Kifah, because yesterday he was made there. So now he says La'adam, it means he says it's like I never borrowed. He means to say I didn't pay.
What did he say for the first day?
Either the first case was Nesativ Loch, which we learned that's Bismane, or he says La'adam that he never borrowed.
So
When it says Ein l'cha b'yadi, the pshat of Ein l'cha b'yadi means La'adam that I never borrowed. And one who says
what did he say before he said these words?
In the day before he admitted he owes the money.
Then he says
La'adam. La'adam means that he means to say I didn't pay.
So that's
Because
the
thesis is why does he have to say because what do you have to come on to that cloud? Yesterday he said he was made, he owes the money. Now he says La'adam, we're not going to believe him. So it says La'adam could mean that loy lavisi, right, means because paraiti, because I paid you. So here he's coming to tell you loy lavisi. No, it's not because paraiti. Whoever says loy lavisi is kind of loy paraiti. It's like he says I didn't pay you. So that's the pshat. So you have no raya. Migo b'makameda, but it's nicht. Das ist nicht kein Teichzmane. Ein l'cha b'yadi is not talking about Teichzmane. Ein l'cha b'yadi means he's saying I didn't pay you back. It's a different pshat. Okay, so we don't have a raya. So the shaila of the Gemara of Ma'alei l'shaka b'makom chazaka, we didn't come to any conclusion. Amiga b'makom chazaka, we don't have an answer. We didn't bring a raya. Now he continues with the Mishnah. If the Shachan said, Samach loy, if he put a kaisel between two chatzeres, kaisel acher, megan alav zakayel. If he put a kaisel, another kaisel, next to the original kaisel, then we say, okay, you paid up to 4. Now you're going to have to pay up to 8. Megan alav zakayel. Rav Huna said, but samach lepalga, samach lepkula. Even if he, let's say here you have 2 walls. I don't know if I should use this in here. We can use this in this. If I build a wall, that's a langavant, and here you build only up to half, or half in the height. You only build above of 5, and this is a little higher. You build 5 feet. This is 8, and this is 5. So he says, if you were samach even palgad this way or this way, the halacha is you have to pay for the whole wall. The halacha is samach lepalga is samach lekula. You have to pay for the whole first wall.
It shows that you need to lay the first wall.
It shows even though it was only half, he pays for the whole wall.
Even whatever you did, it shows that you appreciate it.
Yeah, but the chiddush is even though you didn't build the whole wall yet, we say we're assuming you're going to build soon the whole wall. But Rav Nachman argues. He says, as much as he built to the width of the wall, that's how much he has to pay of the other wall up to 8 amas, and more than that, not. Says the Gemara, Rav Huna is made a big carnival lufta. What's the carnival lufta? Let's say here is a house. This is a house, and you have the wall. The original wall was connected to his house, right?
Original wall.
The original wall. So now he wants to, and his house comes to here, right? So he wants to build a wall only to here. He doesn't go the whole way. He builds a wall this way. So we know he's not going further. He built a wall till here. So now you have his house. He has this wall, and he built a wall this way. You know he's not going further. So if you know he's not going further, he only has to pay till, even if Avuna is made, he doesn't have to pay for the rest of the wall. Well, the Gewizna, Gate Nishmaita, this is how far he's going. Here's his house. Here's the original wall.
Yeah, if he builds over here.
Yeah, if he built, he has to pay for the whole wall. But he's here, so he shows he only wants this part of the wall. That's it. So Rav Huna has made it that in such a case, you only have to pay up to the part of the wall. Meida Rav Huna, Rav Nachman, by Afriza. Rav Nachman is made by Afriza. What's Afriza? He says, here's the wall. On the top of the wall, they wouldn't put the wooden beams on top of the stone because it's moist. So the wooden beams would become fafoiled. What would they do? They would put, once the wall was finished, they would put a whole piece of wood, a whole wooden beam over the wall. So if he put a whole beam over the wall, so he shows that he wants the whole wall. He's going to be putting beams.
Even though he only built a part of it, right?
He built, no, he's, okay, right. Even though he built only part of it. Yes, you're right. Even though he only built part. But if he put the whole beam here, we know he's going to extend further because he plans to put beams throughout the whole wall. So he has to pay for the whole wall. Also, ubekavata dikshuri. Let's say that he made holes for beams. Holes. So throughout the wall, from here to here. So to insert the beams between the two walls to make a floor for the next floor that he's going to build.
He wants to build a sukkah, no?
But he wants to build a second floor. Why a sukkah? He can do better. He can rent a new apartment for a whole year.
Yeah, you make a condo.
Yeah. Rav Huna said, Beit Kavi. What's if the original wall, when the guy built it 8 feet, he made holes lechatchila facing the shachem. So it's not a chazaka that I have the schus in the wall, that I paid for the wall, because the holes won't be a raya that I paid for the wall. Even if the guy put in the wall, in the holes, he put in a wooden frame because you don't want it to get foiled from the stone. So you had little wooden frames throughout all the holes. It's still not a chazaka that I have a schus in the wall, that I paid for the wall. It's no raya that I paid for the wall. Why?
The second guy
The first guy claims that even though I had holes in it, right? So the second guy claims, I paid, look at the holes. It has wooden pieces.
Who built the hole?
The original guy who built it up to 8 feet,
He also made the holes.
he made the holes with the wooden frames in it. So I'm going to say, look, there's holes with wooden frames. I paid for it. I did it. We're not going to trust that you did it. Why? Why won't we trust that the other guy who didn't build the wall claims he paid for it? Why won't we trust him that he paid for it? So he says, because the one who built the original wall will say, Amina l'chipiyastali, I said in my heart, before I built this elevation of the wall from 4 amas to 8 amas, l'chipiyastali, when you're going to come back to me, I know later on you're going to want to use this wall, because I know you're going to want to build a wall, make another floor, or use a rooftop, or on the bottom. So I already prepared, because because later on, when you're going to want to make holes in my wall, you're going to start cracking my wall. If I would build with a full wall, and then you start chiseling holes in it, the yesod, and they crack the wall. So I made it that just in case you're going to come to me, it's all ready, and you're not going to go breaking my wall. Yeah, we say the original owners believe to say that he built the holes lechatchila because he knew that later on, if he's going to want to use the wall, he's going to come chiseling in his wall.
Whose property is in the inside?
It faces the shachem. It's in both people's issues. but it faces
But where did he make the holes? In other words, on his side of the property?
on the shachan side, facing the shachan side.
On the other side? Oh, he didn't make it on his side.
No,
He made a hole on
no.
the other side.
He made it to the shachan side, so just in case the shachan decides to use the wall, and he starts chiseling, I don't need him chiseling. I'll make it the
So
chatchila with a hose.
So he can say, I paid you for it.
Right, so we're not
No,
going to...
that
I didn't, having in mind, I knew that later on you're going to come to me, so, and you're going to want to build, and you're going to stop chiseling and drilling in my wall. I made a chatchila that you won't break my wall. Yeah. Rav Nachman said, "Achzik lehurdi." What's if this person has a schus to put in thin beams into the wall? So he doesn't have the right to put in heavy beams into the wall because he lechatchila was only for thin beams. Likshuri, but what's it? The shachan, yeah, the shachan who came and started. He put beams. Lechatchila, what kind of beams were there? Thin beams. He cannot now change it to heavy beams or likshuri. But if it was likshuri, it was lechatchila heavy beams, and he decides to use thinner beams.
Yeah.
That he has a schus because he's not ruining the wall.
What the second guy can build?
Yeah, we're saying the second guy, if he had a schusim, the guy allowed him to have schusim in the wall, right? And the schusim that he had, you could see he only had thin beams. He cannot now put in heavy beams.
No, the opposite
But if
is-
he reverse, if he had heavy beams, he could put in thin beams. Rav Yosef says either way. If he had thin beams, he gives heavy beams, thin beams, no
They
difference.
built a new wall, right?
Yeah, he says he has a schus in both ways, because we say if he got the schus in the wall to put beams, it's for all beams. He can do how many others? What? No, in this wall that he built, we're talking about he just built it. Yeah, he has chusim. Okay, he bought this chusim, so he bought it for all types of wood. Okay, he can do how many others say even Rav Nachman, not the Rav Yosef. Rav Nachman himself said as l'hurdi, as l'kshuri, as l'kshuri, as l'hurdi. He says both ways. If he had the schus in the wall, even if he had there originally thin beams, he could use it for heavy beams. And for sure, if he had heavy beams, he could use it for thin beams. Dr. Yamad, Rav Nachman.
So what does Rav Yosef hold?
Rav Yosef hold. They're not arguing. According to the Kedami, they hold the same.
No, Rav Yosef and Rav Nachman.
Not in the first case. In the first case,
Even a smaller amount.
right. Even if the Chatchila he was mostly only with thin beams, he could use heavy beams. Rav Nachman said, if he was muhsik, that he had dripping from all over his house, he didn't have any gutter that focused only one area, and when the rain came, all the rain from the whole roof fell in the chutzah. So he was hot. He couldn't even use the chutzah because the rain would come on the whole chutzah. So if he was musik, he had the schuz, he allowed all the rain to come down the roof, from the roof into his chutzah without a gutter. So as l'shafchi, for sure, he's musik l'shafchi. If he has a gutter and it's focused in one area, he's musik for that. Lo yachla natfi. I'm saying as l'shafchi. But what's if he had a gutter and the water came down only in one area? Lo yachla natfi. Then he cannot he cannot have the rain without a gutter coming down from his whole rooftop into the chutzah. Rav Yosef says no difference. He had the schus for a gutter to come down in one area, so the same thing, even if it's going to come down without a gutter throughout the whole roof onto the chutzah, is also, he has the right. Others say, Rav Nachman says just like in the previous Lashon, like Rav Yosef. If he has chusim for a gutter, for the water to come down through a gutter, he has the chusim for the water to come down the whole roof into the whole chutzah. For the urban Eloi. But if the house was made from aravis, in those times they had thick aravis, the rain wouldn't come down, but it absorbed. So even when the rain stopped, it would rain down for another 2 hours. So even though it's from the aravis, so he says for them, the rooftop was made out of aravis, straw, a whole bunch of straw. It wouldn't come down. But if the rain stopped, it absorbed so much it would keep on raining.
The Rabbi was perfect.
Yeah, perfect. Here he says, it doesn't stop right away. even if the rain stopped, they may not film the hilchim b'meshech kamashoyis and continue. The rain keeps on coming down. So he says no. But if so Rav Nachman says that we weren't agreeable for the rain to come down and it would stop, from the roof, a regular roof, and when the rain stops, the water stops. Fine. But the tzif of the urbanei, when the rain stops, it's nach apar shoyis as a gate dragon in the chotzer. If them not the nishmas given. If this he wasn't agreeable to.
He has to cut off the shines.
He says it rains.
He has to cut off the shines. He has to cut off the. He has to cut them off.
No, you don't cut it. If you cut it off, you have no roof. He uses that house for the roof. Yes, I hear what you're saying. Rav Yosef, I feel with tzif the urbanei. Rav Yosef argues. He says even with tzif the urbanei. Over the Rav Yosef, over the tzif the urbanei. It says Rav Yosef, Gepaskin lemaisa, that the rain from a roof that's made out of araves, v'nam for araves, that he if he had schusim for the water to come down into his chotzer, even if there was a gutter, he has schusim even if it's silly for the urbani, even if the rooftop was made out of straw and it's going to rain after the rain stops. Rav Yosef says he still has a schus. He says once he has a schus for in that chotzer for rain to come down, he doesn't make it. He doesn't make differences.
It could grow stuff out of it.
That's what he said. He won't make any differences.
But at least then he's got to clean up, and then
He said that the water.
You grow tomatoes.
Says once he had schusim, he has a schus melting. Rav Nachman said in the name of Rabbi Baravua, Amaska buys lechaveirei, somebody who rents a house, apartment, a big multiple family house. Mishtamesh b'zizah. He gets to use the beams that protrude out of the building. He can hang up stuff on it. And he can use the holes in the wall. Ad ab ames, till 4 ames, within 4 ames of his apartment, till 4 ames away from his apartment. So let's say he's on the top floor. He can use the thickness of the wall. If he's on the top floor, he can use the top of the wall. Okay, and of course, in the place where the seichim taka place the chafetzim on top of the wall. But he has no reshus to use the walls that surrounded the garden because that was for aesthetics, for the beauty of the building. So that you weren't allowed to use.
So which one was allowed to use?
The wall that he's on the apartment at the top floor. So he goes on the rooftop. He can use the thickness of the wall. But in the what about in the garden outside? There's a wall that's surrounding the garden. No, this is for the beauty. You can't. You don't start with the beauty of the building. Rav Nachman, the day Omar, Rav Nachman says, "I feel with tubitz hapadni." Rav Nachman says, "No, you can even use the walls that are surrounding the garden." Al bechava, but the shetach of the karka, shachiri abatim that was in back of the house, loy, you cannot use. The chutz in front of the house you can use, but the shetach that was in back of the house, like we call it the backyard, that they cannot use. But what? Was not included. Only the front yard. Yeah, everybody uses the front yard. Yeah.
The block is away from the public eye.
It's probably for maintenance, only for storage or who knows what. So he says, but bechava. But the Rabbi says, no, everything belongs to the tenants, especially in New York. Even the apartments, you don't have to pay anything. Yeah.
It's just a train.
Okay. Avinu said, Haik Shura the Metalalta, this beam that they used for shade in a time they placed on the Kaisel that was built, so he put it there in the hot days, Atlas and Yomim, up to 30 days. We're now talking about a Chazak Mitzad Shimush because of using it. Now there's Chazak Mitzad, a Chazak from Draya, and then there's a Chazak from Shimush that you're using it, that makes the Chazak. So he placed a beam for shade, Atlas and Yomim, we say up to 3 years, 30 days, and is not a Chazaka. Even though the Bala Krisel hasn't been meicha in the 30 days, that's not a problem. Because it's not a chazaka up to 30 days. But if he left it after the season, after 30 days, and he wasn't meicha, have a chazaka. that creates a chazaka for the guy.
Who's the owner of the property?
The owner of the wall. He put a beam on the wall, on the neighbor's wall. Yes, for a shade, to use a shade.
Put an awning, you mean?
Or even an awning, or use the wall of this friend. Up to 30 days is not a chazaka.
You're tired.
But if the 30 days, if he shouldn't get off meicha, then he have to be meicha. Be sukkah to mitzvah. But if it's a sukkah of mitzvah, achiva yoyim, lo you have a chazaka. Up to 7 days, it's not a chazaka. We mean 8 days here. You can't kosh shmini atzeres. But what's a shiva yoyim have a chazaka? Why over here 7 days? And when it comes to a beam for shade, he has 30 days because they it's specifically for the mitzvah. So after the sukkah's mitzvah is over, normally you take down the sukkah. I got a ticket for that. Yeah, you keep it for the sukkah if you left it longer. From the building department, yeah. But if the sukkahs, you have to take it off. If you left it up, if the sukkahs, then you should have been meicha. You should have been meicha. Tell him take down the sukkah.
Tell a story about Friday and the sikha.
We'll get to it. Yeah, okay. If he went ahead and took the beam and he attached it with clay or with cement, and the guy sees the guy is attaching a mamish. Oh, that so I'll tell the chazaka. If he's not meicha right there and then, it's gleich a chazaka. It's right away a chazaka. Abaya said, Shnei batim shnei tzidur shesharam. 2 houses on the 2 sides of the street. Each one makes a maika. One not next to each other. Here's one, and here's the other gag. Right, I'm on the other street, on the other side. Right. So he builds a wall this way, and I build a wall this way. So, and it's more than half a little bit, and I come down more than half, overlapping a little bit. So even when I look from the side, I won't. If it overlaps a little bit, you're not going to be able to see, because you're going to have to go on here, Zay. Or here you have the picture. You look.
Why is that? Because it has a gear.
See, this one is at the beginning of this wall. Yeah, because of Hezekriya. This one. By a gag, there's no Hezekriya. So the Rashba says that over here, where is the no Hezekriya when it's the ceilings, the rooftops were slanted. Here we're talking about flat roofs that they used. So okay, and he overlaps. My area is shusarab. Pregnant mother, why do you need a shusarab in between? I feel a shusarab. Even if there's a shusayachid, you have to make a mic in order to for Hezekriya. Says Gemara, shusarab nitzichalei. I needed a shusarab. Mother Tema, I would have thought to say, Namalei, that he could say, hey, save, how could you force me to build a wall? You yourself have to build a wall. Why? From the Bnei Shusarab, looking inside. Kamash Malam comes the Mishnah and teaches us. I don't know if it's a Mishnah or it's Shnei Bat Ma'im. Abai comes Abai and teaches us that the Amalei, he could say the Rabbim b'yamama chazali b'leilia lechazali. The Rabbim only see me by day, but by night they don't see me. At bein b'yamama bein b'leilia chazali. But you, I'm forcing you because you can see me day and night. Inami, or another teretz, he could tell him Rabbim ki imna chazali. The Rabbim, when they're standing, when I'm standing, they can see me. When I'm standing on the roof, they see me. But when I'm sitting on the roof, they don't see me. But you on the roof, whether you're standing or sitting, you can see me. Rabbim, but the Rabbim, when they look into it, Rabbim, they have to look up and they have to straighten the neck and look up. That's when they see me. But if they're not ma'ayin, if they're not looking the kavanah all the way up, they don't see me. But you walk on your rooftop, you right away see me. That's why you're mechiv to build. I can be mechiv to build a wall. Each one, like we just said, overlapping. But they start from the opposite sides of their roof. It's a dava pashit. Since the 2 shchenim are on the same level. So it has a kriya. So it's a davar pashut that you have to build a wall between them. What? More than half, a little bit more, overlapping. Each one has to overlap. The chiddush was the kadam chadman. One already hired a contractor to build a wall before the other guy. So mal the ten. What? A wall. Over the same thing. A mica. Minat Torah, you have to build a mica. A mica is only 10 tvachim. Here we're talking about a wall of 4 amas. So it has a kriya. Says you want to like sich over here. It's talking about the kadam chad menai le'avad. Here it's talking about one guy already hired a contractor. He started to build. So mal the tema, I would have thought dena le'idach. So the shachan can say to him, listen, shkeilu zinke. Here's money for the expenses. Now I'm there, school. Make the whole wall on your side. What are you going to be matich me to hire also contractor? You already started. Finish the wall. I'll pay for you. Kamashlam comes the Gemara and teaches us Davalei. He could say, the Shachan could say to him, At my time abdat, you, why don't you want to make it on your whole wall? Mishum de Misashisa, because it weakens your wall by putting another wall over your wall of the house. Anonami Miselei Ashisai. Me too, I don't want to build a whole wall on my side. Yeah, Rav Nachman Mashmol. Rav Nachman said the name of Shmuel. Gaga Samal Ratzach Avedei. A rooftop that's parallel to the chotza of the chava. He has to make a wall of daladamis. And here, even if it's a slanted roof that he doesn't use, he has to do it because of Hezekiah. But between 2 rooftops, which are slanted, you don't have to build a wall of 4 amas. You don't need dalaramis, but you need a mechitza of 10 tvachim. What does he need for 10 tvachim? Ila has a kriya. If it's for Hezekiah, Abba is bidon. You need 4 amas for Hezekiah. Ila need to salak the ganev. If to just catch him as a ganev, masifs ba'almasagi, just putting pegs and separating, you see that he came to your side. So you can catch the gun right away. If it's for the kid goats or the shepsalach or the sheep, he says all you need is like 3 tvachim high, and it will block them from crossing over.
But in the beginning on the roof, how do you single the cover?
He has tzigelach on the roof, on the rooftop, yeah. So the Gemara Leilam and the Nitz Salav Kiganev. Really, it's to catch the ganev. Mesifas matzmishtametlei. By if he only has little pegs, he can come up with excuses. Oh, I dropped my wallet on your side. All of a sudden, he's on his side. If there was a wall of 10 tvachim, he cannot say, "Oh, I came here by mistake." There's a wall. You climbed that wall. If the chotzer was higher than the rooftop of his friend, then we don't force the Baal chotzer to build a wall, because a gag is not made for usage. A chotzer is, and he doesn't have to worry. The gag is going to look. The guy in the gag will look into his rooftop, into the chotzer, because the chotzer is higher. My love ain't as cooking like how. I would have thought that it means that he doesn't have to build anything. The chotzer. Because he's higher. So he doesn't have to build a wall of 4 amas. But we do force him to build a mechitza of 10 tvachim to separate this to the shuyes.
What is the reason for the 10?
The 10 tvachim and the chotzer, we said to catch as a ganav. The mitzvah is the ganav. Yeah, but he still has to build to separate the balachotzer. Yeah, right. Only a mechitza of 10 tvachim. I don't know why he doesn't mention it's at Micah you need the 10 tvachim.
No, it doesn't matter.
But yeah, but the chutz is not the rooftop. But I'm saying the God before minimum you need anyway 10 tvachim, even not the limit beganev. You need 10 tvachim of a Micah regardless. What?
Oh, he has a little, his house is lower down. The chutz is higher.
Right, that he doesn't have to build. There's no reason. There's no Hezekiah but he has to just build 10 tvachim.
So that it's, in other words, you have no excuse that I
Came into the gag,
jumped
right.
into your gag.
But I'm telling you, with the two gagas that he gave a reason why you need 10 tvachim, he says because you shouldn't
All right.
lemitvus keganev. He says, what do you mean lemitvus keganev? There's no, you have to have it anyway mitzvah. He's a Michael gagecha. I don't know why he doesn't bring that down. Zogti bara itmam yam gelernt shtei chatzeris uleman amazul. Two chatzeris, one higher than the other. Tachtem beina mikenekta ve'ayla. The bottom one builds up till 4 amis of his chatzah. V'alyam beina mikenekta. And the Alyam builds from where he starts and he continues upward. Ve'ayla. Rav Chizda Amar Ha'alyam Esayel Milamato beina. Rav Chizda holds. What do you mean? He only has to build his part all the way up, and the bottom one has to build all the way to the top, and all the way to the top floor, and then the Elyon will build on top of that 4 amas. Why? So Rav Chizda says no, he has to help him from the bottom all the way.
So the shore have to have.
Right.
Building a wall, so you have to build the whole
Equally. Tani Kavasei de Rav Chizda Shtei Chatzei Zul L'Malam Azul. We learned in Abraisa similarly. 2 chatzeris, one higher than the other. Lo yoyma elyon, the upper one cannot say Hareini boina mikenegda ve'ayla. I only build from my level upward. Rather, he has to help from the bottom together with the chatzim in the bottom. If his chatzim was higher than the rooftop of his friend, then he's not chayiv. Meaning to build, he only has to build the balachatz because there's no hezekriya for the gag. The chutz, but the gag there's no hezekriya. It's on this land. It's not used. Right. That's what we learned, Shad.